Hello, everybody. We continue to read the Bible together here. I believe reading the Word of our Creator is so essential. And this is why we've been doing these daily Bible readings and continuing them again. And I've already done the majority of the books. You can see on my website and this YouTube channel. So here we are. We continue with the Word of our Creator. We're up to Esther chapter 5. And even if you read this before, read it along with me because we're going to go through certain notes and a couple of other things that I have find out in these. So Esther's request to the king, and we read, and this is continuing from where we were last time. So it says, on the third day of the fast, Esther put on a royal robe and entered the inner court of the palace, just across from the king's hall. The king was sitting on his royal throne facing the entrance. So this is the climax of the story. And if you see the movie, this was all about. She opens the doors and a big long hallway, and there he is at the end, his chair, all the people on the side. And it says, when he saw Queen Esther standing there in the inner court, he welcomed her and held out the golden scepter to her. Wow. Wow. This was probably one of the most amazing acts of in all scripture. He had the right to ignore her. He had the right to go like that. She would have been gone. But he saw her standing there. And he truly, truly had strong feelings for her and was concerned for her. And as soon as he saw her, it says, when he saw Queen Esther standing there in the inner court, she interrupted his meeting, right? And he saw him there. He welcomed her and held out the golden scepter. Wow, I'm going to highlight that here. That's just amazing. He welcomed her and held out the golden scepter to her. So Esther approached and touched the end of the scepter. She was probably more frightened than you could ever have imagined. And it says, then the king asked her, what do you want, Queen Esther? What is your request? I will give it, even if it is half of the kingdom. Wow. Wow. So she could have made her request right there, but she didn't. And just like when Joseph's sons brought themselves to Joseph, Joseph could have revealed right there, I'm your brother, but he didn't. So, there's some wisdom used here that just not like, wouldn't you just want to say something? Our people are going to die. You need help. No, but she didn't. It says, Esther replied, if it please the king, let the king and Haman come to a banquet I have prepared for the king. So she could have had anything up to half of the kingdom. And this is what she asked for. If it please the king, let the king and Haman come to the banquet I have prepared for the king. The king turned to his attendant and said, tell Haman to come quickly to a banquet, as Esther has requested. So the king and Haman went to Esther's banquet. So apparently from this, it was right away that they went. So the banquet must have already been ready. And waiting. So she went on faith that they were going to come. And while they were drinking wine, the king said, now tell me what you really want. What is your request? I'll give it to you even if it's half the kingdom. That's the second time he said that. So he sensed that Esther was feeling uncomfortable in the situation. Esther replied, this is my request and my deepest wish. If I have found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant me my request, and do what I ask, please come with Haman tomorrow to the banquet. I will prepare for you. Then I will explain what this is all about. All right, so she says, come again. And then verse 9, Haman's plan to kill Mordecai. Haman was a happy man as he left the banquet. But when he saw Mordecai sifting at the palace gate, not standing up or trembling nervously before him, Haman became furious. And the note here says, hatred and bitterness are like weeds with long roots that grow in the heart. and corrupt. All of Haman was consumed with hatred towards Mordecai, that he could not even enjoy the honor of being invited to Esther's party. Hebrews 12:15 warns us to watch out that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, conquering many. Don't let hatred and its resulting bitterness build in your heart. Like Haman, you will find it uh, backfiring against you. Okay, so we see that. So we read, says verse 10. However, he restrained himself and went home. Then Haman gathered together his friends, Zeresh and his wife, and boasted to them his great wealth and his many children. He bragged about the honors the king gave him and how he had been promoted over all other nobles and officials. Verse 12. Then Haman added, and that's not all. Queen Esther invited only me and the king himself to a banquet she prepared for us, and she had invited me to dine with her and the king again tomorrow. Then he added, but this is all worth nothing as long as I see Mordecai, the Jewish person, sitting there at the palace gate. So Haman's wife, Zeresh, and all his friends suggested, set up a sharpened pole that stands 75 feet tall, and in the morning ask the king to impale Mordecai on it. When this is done, you can go on your merry way to the banquet with the king. This pleased Haman, and he ordered the pole set up. So it says here in these notes here, if mere mention of someone's name provokes you to anger, confess your bitterness as sin. Ignoring bitterness, hiding it from others, or making superficial changes in the behavior is not enough. If bitterness is completely removed, it will grow back. Isn't completely removed, it will grow back, making matters worse. And then we see here at the end it says Haman's family and friends, who were as arrogant as he, suggested that the sharpest pole be 75 feet long, probably half the city wall or some prominent building. They wanted to make sure all the people of the city saw Mordecai's death and would be reminded of the consequence of disobeying Haman. Ironically, this impaling pole later allowed everyone to see Haman's death. Aha, very interesting. So we continue to learn about the characters and the people here in Scripture, but we think about something else. We do not deserve what we received from Yeshua, our wonderful Messiah. It's as if we, on Judgment Day, stand in front of the King, deserving death, and he hands out his scepter to us and touches it and says, my kingdom is your kingdom. You and my son can be one. Follow him. Be one with him. And then Yeshua comes and says the same thing. Here's the opportunity. Follow me. Follow me. And everything that is available to me will be available to you. For I can move mountains, and if your faith is strong enough, you can move mountains. Wow. If. So let us be reminded of this, and let us be reminded of Haman being like the evil, wicked people of this world, and the enemy, and everything of flesh. Let this troubling situation realize the faith that we must have. Like Esther, she created the banquet before she even knew the king would say yes. She went on faith. And then just like Joseph with his brothers, she said a second time, come back again another night and I will tell you. And then we're going to get up to that and see that in tomorrow's chapter 6 of Esther. Thank you for joining me on this reading. For your comments, questions below. We're reading the word together because the word is that important. All right. We've done many chapters of the scriptures, and we're going to do many more on our website, Torah Life Ministries. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Have a blessed day, everybody. Yah be with you, and shalom, shalom.